At 10:47 a.m., the radar station on board the USS Higgins detected a blip. Faint, fast, moving eastward in the South China Sea. At first, no one paid much attention. The crew had seen this pattern before. Chinese surveillance drones or patrol ships cutting close to U.S. destroyers just enough to signal presence, not enough to provoke a response. But this time was different. The object didn't veer away, it accelerated. By 10:52 a.m., the watch officer called it in. Unidentified vessel, heading on an intercept course. Minutes later, a Type 055 Chinese stealth destroyer broke the horizon, aggressive, silent, gliding through international waters but heading straight for the USS Higgins. On board, alarms triggered. Crew members scrambled into position, fingers hovered over consoles ready to engage, but no one fired. Not yet. What the Americans didn't know was that 2 weeks earlier, deep inside Beijing's Central Military Commission compound, a confidential meeting had taken place. A directive had been issued, coded, classified, and signed by someone who normally stayed in the shadows. The order: disrupt, not destroy; humiliate, not escalate. It was a message, not to the Pentagon, but to someone very specific. Rear Admiral Keller was in command of the Higgins. He'd served nearly 30 years, and he knew the Chinese playbook well. At least, he thought he did. Until that day. As the Chinese warship closed in, its crew revealed a flag on the deck, a signal flag sequence Keller hadn't seen in years. He froze. It was personal. Years ago, during a joint operation in the Strait of Malacca, Keller had overseen a covert intercept that captured a rogue Chinese operative. That man had vanished. No trial, no record, no exchange. But Keller remembered the symbol on the rogue agent's vest. It matched the flag now waving from the enemy ship's deck. The Chinese vessel slowed to a crawl, trailing the Higgins at a harrowing 200 meters. They weren't following protocol. They were taunting. Then, at exactly 11:05 a.m., a small drone launched from the ship and hovered 30 feet above the Higgins. No weapons, just optics, an eye in the sky peering directly into Keller's bridge. The U.S. commander gave the order to jam. But it didn't work. The drone kept transmitting, undeterred. That's when the tech officer noticed something strange. Its signal wasn't just broadcasting. It was decoding something on their own systems. Thousands of miles away in Washington, the incident sent shockwaves through the Naval Cyber Command. This wasn't standard harassment. This was breach-level warfare. And it wasn't random. Within hours, Keller's secure files were accessed. Mission logs, encrypted messages, field records from the Malacca operation. Only one person would have had reason to seek them out: Colonel Wei's son. Son was presumed dead. Years ago, a Navy SEAL team had cornered him in a compound outside Hainan. The building was torched, no survivors reported. But whispers remained. Rogue generals, black operations, hidden tech labs off the coast of Shandong. No proof. Until now. By 1:30 p.m., the USS Higgins was ordered to stand down and divert course. But Keller refused. He ordered the ship to hold its position. "They came for me," he told his XO. "I'm not running." What followed was one of the most tense 48-hour naval standoffs since the Cold War. Overhead, U.S. satellites tracked 2 more Chinese vessels approaching, forming a triangle around the Higgins. It was a silent message. Boxed in. Meanwhile, underwater sonar picked up the unmistakable hum of an advanced Chinese submarine, Type 093 nuclear-powered. It was positioning itself beneath the Higgins, not as an attack threat, but as a psychological dagger. "We know where you are. We control the surface, the sky, and now the depths." Inside the Pentagon, analysts scrambled to interpret the move. This wasn't a conventional show of force. It was symbolic. Psychological warfare. The Chinese weren't trying to provoke a war. They were making a point. Digging into Keller's past. Sending a ghost to knock on his hull. 2 nights later at 2 a.m., with tension nearing a breaking point, Keller received an unencrypted transmission. It wasn't military code. It was a voice recording, in Mandarin. A translator decoded it within seconds. "You buried me once. I buried your secrets. We are not equal. There was no signature, no confirmation. But Keller knew. It was Sun. The next morning, the Chinese ships vanished. No warning, no farewell. Just gone. Back over the horizon as if they were never there. The drone crashed into the ocean intentionally. Its remains unrecoverable. But the message had landed. Back in Washington, naval intelligence filed it as an unresolved foreign engagement. But inside Keller's private log, he wrote one sentence: "The dead never forget." In the weeks that followed, Keller was quietly pulled from active command, a desk job, declassified only in name. Officially, it was retirement preparation. Unofficially, it was exile. Someone didn't want his story getting out. Meanwhile, in Beijing, Colonel Wei Sun's name was still absent from every military record. A ghost, a weapon, a reminder. And the USS Higgins? It was reassigned to Alaska Patrol, not for punishment, but for silence. Out of the spotlight, out of reach, but not out of memory. Because sometimes the real war isn't fought with bullets. It's fought with memories, with symbols, with whispers from the past that become warnings for the future. And in this battle, the victor wasn't the one with the bigger gun. It was the one who knew exactly which scar to press. Because this time, it was personal.